Hey everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's on the Tube, where each and every episode of this show I talk about a TV show, whether that is reviewing episode by episode, reviewing an entire television season, or reviewing it season by season, or just one of these quick impressions where I just talk about a show that I've been watching recently. And today we're talking about Gravity Falls. Now, what is ironic is that I actually recorded this review 2 weeks ago, and then when I was editing it, I lost the audio. So I was superbly confused because so to make a long story short, my camera turned off by itself, and then when I was trying to fix the wires, I forgot to put back the microphone wire. So by the time I realized that it was already in post, so I had actually, so we got a little bit thrown off track, plus a lot of other things, stuff happened, as we're currently in the middle of this COVID world. Me, George, and Sal have all been very busy with our lives to kind of schedule recording, so that's why the Arrow season reviews are kind of off track. Doctor Who's still on track for now. But anyway, if you only care about Gravity Falls, that's my blabbering that's over with, because this is actually the second time I'm going to talk about Gravity Falls, and maybe it's for better or for worse that, the original footage got lost. But anyway, let's get down to it. So I had watched Gravity Falls originally when it first premiered on Disney Channel back in 2012. I distinctly remember watching the first promo, which is Dipper and Mabel's VO over a room in the Mystery Shack. That the very first teaser. I was a little bit curious. I kind of had this feeling that, it's an average cartoon, that for kids, the new generation of cartoons. So I wasn't really enticed to tune in. It was going to come out in June, so I didn't really have much expectations for this show. And then fast forward to June, because I think I saw that promo back in April, and I went to go see the first episode because it just was on TV. I didn't do anything else with my life besides watch TV or play video games, so I watched it, and it was really damn good. I don't know what it was back then, but I got hooked on the show, and then I started watching the episodes. I think that was the first cartoon in recent history that I actually watched every episode live, and I just got so enthralled. And I think it was the quickest impression of the show is that I'll give it is that this show is fucking awesome. It's really, I think, one of the best modern cartoons I've ever seen, and I believe it inspired a whole new generation of story-driven cartoons that are entertainable for kids, for teenagers, for adults. It's just one of those shows that I think everyone can get involved with. It's something that I still can't believe exists. That the TLC, the tender loving care, that every episode of this show has been put into. And here's the thing. I say cartoon, and it only had 40 episodes. That would be a bad thing, but every episode was not perfect, not every episode, but every episode was great. It had this consistent bar of quality that it somehow got maintained throughout the entire 2-season run, and I was dumbfounded by that fact. So anyway, flashback back, and I think I really like the moment I got sold on the show was the dynamic between Dipper and Mabel, how weird and quirky this show was. And also, by the end of the first episode, where this is the only spoiler I'll mention, I won't spoil anything else throughout the entire show. When we end episode 1 and we just hear Dipper's VO explaining like what other mysteries relate to this town, and we just see Grunkle Stan walking through a secret door behind the vending machine in the Mystery Shack, and that ends episode 1, and I was so enthralled by it. And it doesn't do the typical, like, it's so weird, like it's not your typical mystery show where every episode we get like a little bit of a hint towards that related subplot. They took most of their time in the first season, I think majority of it, just introducing us to the world, introducing these characters, the mythos, the lore, giving us little breadcrumbs of the larger story with certain characters, with certain events, with certain flashbacks. And then when we get to the end of season 1, and then it was like starting to now really form the story, and then getting into season 2, It was the wait between episodes. That's another thing. Gravity Falls had a notorious weird airing schedule where, again, cartoons would be like, get a new episode every week. Gravity Falls, we will release them when they're ready. It's like a YouTube. It's like a JonTron video. They're done when they're done, and I think that's the best way to describe it. Like, they just, I don't even know how they got away with it. Like, Disney just said, screw it. You are just not going to be confined to a weekly schedule. Just release them when they're done, and it actually benefited the show because they had more time to focus on the animation, focus on the smaller, finer detail, the writing, the pacing, everything. And so when I was waiting between season 1 and season 2, between that 1 year break, we had a year off from the show. I was so excited when they came back, and I was like really more enthralled to see where the rest of the story go. And obviously, of course, I was kind of thinking through rose-colored lenses that, oh, we're going to get a season 3. We're going to keep going with the story. But then when I heard like halfway through season 2 that, no, this is it. This is the last season. We're not doing anything more after this. Like, once we're done with this season, we're done. And I was really bummed out because I wanted to see more of these characters. And if you haven't watched What's on the Tube as ever, a thing you should know about me is that it's the characters that usually save the show. It's the thing that drives the show. The story could be god awful, but if somehow the characters are even more engaging than the story, I would come back for the characters any day of the week. That's just something that really just enticed me about the entirety of any show I'm watching. And believe me or not, I have watched really bad shows but great characters, and I just keep powering through just to see when the story catches up to them, or I just want to see where the characters go. And Gravity Falls is just the case. Like, it had the best of both elements. Like, I love the story, I love the mystery, I love figuring out all these elements when we go. There's a certain episode in season 2 where it's like, it gives us so much information that I think I binged that episode. And anyone who watched Gravity Falls before will know what I'm talking about. When we got to that episode, I think I binged it I rewatched that episode like 7 times before the next one came out, because I was so excited that we got to see this, like, this new information, all this new story. And then when it was over, it's like, oh, I want to see what happens next with the story. And oh man, I can't keep complimenting the show enough. And sorry if I keep saying and is my new because before I used to say a lot of ums or anyway, so oh yeah, let's talk about the characters. I talk about characters, but I haven't even said a single thing about the characters. I'm only going to talk about the main 5 because this is a non-spoiler review. I am not going to spoil anything about the show, about certain characters, because I just don't want to spoil where they end up. So, honestly, Gravity Falls is one of those shows where I will probably one day, with the right guest, I'm going to do a whole spoiler review / definitive series review, because this show deserves it. It really does. I don't know when or where, or who, because again, with anything we do on the channel, with What's on the Tube, when it comes to doing co-hosts, it has to make sense organically. So, for Arrow, Sal, my co-host on that show, he loves superhero shows. He loves the Arrowverse of Arrow, Flash, Supergirl, all those shows. So he was the right natural fit for that show. And then when I'm doing Doctor Who, George is the biggest Whovian I ever met in my life. He was the perfect co-host to work with on Doctor Who series reviews. So that's kind of what I mean when I say Gravity Falls-esque one will be really down the line, because I really don't know anyone in my life right now, or it's someone I really have a connection with, to do that. So anyway, enough about that. Back to the characters. This is one of those shows where Dipper and Mabel both share that same role. Where when it comes to a brother-sister dynamic, usually it's the brother that outshines the sister, and the sister is the comedic relief. That kind of is what some episodes kind of trend on. But there are moments where, like, Mabel takes charge, or she's able to stand up alongside the same level of importance with Dipper. And both of them are just your quirky little brother and sister. They're just a power duo that are twins, and they really love each other. They're both different, but at the end of the day, they're family, and they're willing to do whatever it takes to kind of still be together and do the right thing for their relationship and for what's best for them to do. So Dipper is more as your kind of niche, mystery-loving dude who needs to know everything about it. And he's your typical middle school boy. You know, he has a crush on Wendy. He wants to know everything. He has to be a know-it-all. He gets really bummed out or like left out. He's really insecure. And then you have Mabel, who gives no damn about the mystery, but she goes along with anything that happens in this town. She is the most friendly, sociable one out of the duo. So you kind of see where the twins kind of like, they have their own different elements about each other, but at the end of the day, there's kind of like that core foundation in both of them that kind of makes sense to why each of them works so well. Also, by the way, the voice actors for this entire show, everything between I'm gonna butcher a lot of names. Jason Rittler, Christian. Oh my god, I'm butchering so many names. I'm sorry. So I'm gonna name the first name. Jason, Christian, Alex. Lyndon Cardinini from freaking Scooby-Doo is Wendy. When I heard that voice the first time, why do you sound like Velma from Scooby-Doo, the live action movie? And I'm like, oh my god, it's her. What the hell? And I was so excited, and then I just keep forgetting. And the show's had plenty of cool guest stars, like Ron Swanson from not Ron Swanson, the actor who plays Ron Swanson in Nick Offerman from Parks and Rec. I'm sorry. They also had. Who else did they have? I forgot what else they... Damn, I haven't watched this show in a while, but I know the voices, but I keep forgetting the names. But it's just so cool how many small guest stars they're able to get in there throughout the entire show. It's just even the smallest voices you can recognize. But yeah, it's so excited me that Ron Swanson was in the show. Grunkle Stan, he is your grunk grandpa uncle that you don't want to be related to, but it's kind of cool that you are, I guess. I don't know, kind of weird, but anyway, he's really he's your typical old man who still thinks old-fashionedly about the world, and the more you get to know about him later on in the series, you really get to feel for him and connect for him. But even by the first episode, you can tell this guy hasn't had the best luck with family. I'll say that much. And when Dipper and Mabel kind of come into his life for this summer, it really positively changes him for the best. And you get to see that those slow turn as you go on. Seuss. Sorry if I sound like a video description, like Seuss. Seuss, oh my god, I love the guy. I mean, Seuss, I can relate to so much. When I was watching this show, Hispanic, really big dude, lovable dude, very innocent dude, loves video games. My god, I can relate to Seuss so much, and I really hope I don't end up like Seuss. I mean, I lost most of the weight, but just being on the safe side there. Seuss is just the lovable friend you want to have in your group. Like, he's not the smartest, nor is he the most sociable, skilled person in the world, but he's a reliable dude that, even though, yeah, he is a man-child, he still is a dependable person, and, you can count on him, and you can trust him, and you don't really get that many people in the world. And I'm really happy where he ends on the show at the end. That's my only, not like kind of spoiler, not non-spoiler. I'm really happy where he ends up. It kind of makes sense for him. And I just love Seuss so much. Like, I think he had his own like mini series, like mini sodes during the season breaks, and it was like fixing it with Seuss. I'm like, I'm not surprised. Wendy, she's probably the most chill person I ever seen on television in terms of like the animation. I'm pretty sure I met someone. I've seen someone chiller than her, but seeing her, she was briefly in the first episode, and we kind of got that slow build up. Like, she didn't really get much of the focus. I feel like out of the core 5, i.e. the 5 that were in the intro, like the theme song opening, she's the one that doesn't. I don't think she gets the most attention because, again, between the mysteries between Dipper, Mabel, Grunkle Stan, and the entire mystery and the shenanigans they get involved to later on. I'm glad they didn't shoehorn Wendy in every case. And again, I could be wrong. This is my opinion on it. I think Wendy was, out of the 5, was the one that got the least amount. Not by a very huge margin. But I could have really wanted a solo Wendy-esque episode. You just like an episode focusing on her and her character. I would have loved to see that. Again, I know with a very limited order and, a very limited window to tell the story, you kind of have to make some cutbacks there. But not to say we didn't get any backstory for her or any, sort of development for her, is that I really wanted to see her get her own, like, time in the spotlight, if you know what I mean. She's always supporting or she's always a side character, but she's never, from what I remember, she was never the main character. If that makes sense. But, Yeah, I think that's all I can say about the show. I rewatched the show back in around the time summer started, July, August. Well, not okay, July, June or July, not July. Okay, so I'm losing my brain here, man. 2020, man, it's almost over, but I'm really starting to get tired. But anyway, with that being said, so I rewatched it during it on Disney Plus, which I would be playing on my TV, but my PS5, my new PS5, decided to shut that on me when I was finally wrapped up with Miles Morales, because I usually try to get the show behind me, but I think the brightness might be too high. I just looked at the first time at my reflection, but damn. But anyway, I tried to do that, but I forgot. I just couldn't. But anyway, so anyway, even rewatching it back in June, July, even knowing where the story was going, because that story is so, it's so enticing in my mind because it's done so well. Like, there's only a handful of shows that I can name on the top of my hand that that is a show that I would like remember nearly every moment from, like that. Like, little to no issues in terms of memorization. I feel like the only other shows I can think of that can do it on top of my head is My Hero Academia and How I Met Your Mother. That's basically what the two. I have to do like a top 10. Like, what are my top 10 favorite shows of all time? So one day I'll do that. But anyway, but Gravity Falls definitely in my top 10. It's just it's so well done. And shout out to the creator Alex Hurst and his entire production team for creating that show. I know it's been 4 years since it went off the air. 4 freaking years. I went through majority of high school, my first year of college, watching that show, and it's just it surprises me how much that show holds up and how much of it has inspired since its conclusion. And I really can't wait to see what he does next, that guy, and what show he has up his sleeve next. I should really also I have the Gravity Falls complete series over there in my collection. I forgot to bring it out. I wanted to show, but it wasn't the one. It wasn't the big limited edition one. It was like kind of just the regular DVD. But I'm still happy that I have it in my collection. But yeah, I think that's gonna do it for me. For me, just to wrap it up, Gravity Falls. What a damn good show. Really great. If you got a little time to kill, especially since apparently we're going into a second wave of lockdown, so I'm like, oh boy, here we go again. Oh boy. Anyway, you can watch it on Disney Plus. Both seasons. I think all the minisodes are on there too, and they're even like just fun little treats to watch. They have really nothing to do with the story. They're just like kind of like filler stuff, or just supplemental stuff. But I would recommend checking them all out. All the Gravity Falls content's on Disney Plus, so go check it out. And I believe from there, that's going to do it for me. So if you were unaware, this has been a What's on the Tube quick impression, where I talked about Gravity Falls for the past, I want to guess, 20 or so minutes. If you want to know what we're doing overall and What's in the Tube besides our quick impressions, we're doing every Arrow season reviewed, where me and my co-host Sal are reviewing every season, all 8 seasons of Arrow individually, leading into a complete series review at some point. I don't know. We are kind of stuck on season 3 at the time of this recording. We're done with season 3. We haven't started season 4 yet, in terms of recording, because we're busy. So yeah, that's something. We also do every Doctor Who series reviewed with me and George. We just aired the series 3 review last week. Next week is the series 4 review. And yeah, but if you don't care about Gravity Falls, then hopefully one day in the future I will be able to talk about the entirety of Gravity Falls. No bar back, no nothing holding me back. Someday, will it be next year? I highly doubt it. Will it be the next year after that? I don't freaking know. I don't think that far ahead. But one day I will. I think it's guaranteed that I will talk about Gravity Falls again in the near future, but I don't have an estimated time date for you. But if you like me, and you like me talking about other shows, then you're in luck. I usually post quick impressions almost each and every other Tuesday or Saturday, depending when we're not doing an Arrow or Doctor Who review. So go check them out. When you have the time, our next one should be posted on Tuesday, because I highly doubt we're going to make season 4 review in time. So you want to hear me talk about random shows? I'm your man. Subscribe to the channel. But again, if you're unaware, this has been What's in the Tube from ActionX. If you want to see more What's in the Tube, please subscribe to ActionX on YouTube.com. Ring the bell for notification when our next review is live. Like, favorite, share this review if you really enjoyed it. But it does help us out in the long run. It helps us get us out to more people to see our content. As well as follow us on Twitch and Twitter to be up to date on stuff. And I'll see you, all you next time, sometime down the road. But stay safe out there. Be good to each other. And peace out.